Tell me, Sharon, how long are you planning on living in that house? You can't keep this up forever.
Good morning, Mom. Yeah, we aren't planning on staying here forever. It's a nice apartment, but we're probably not going to renew the lease when it expires. We just thought that it would be way too chaotic to try and find a house while also planning our wedding. So yeah, this is just a temporary thing.
That's not what I'm talking about. Oh, my goodness, you are dense. I'm talking about your marriage with my son. How long are you going to stay with him?
That's an odd question. I'm pretty sure that at our wedding, we both accepted the till death do us part thing in our vows. Plus, we've only been married for a month now. So I'm not really sure what you're expecting me to say to a question like that, Mom.
What I expect is for you to set my poor son free as soon as possible. I made myself very clear, Sharon. I do not give my blessing to your relationship, and I never will.
Yes, Mom. You have been very, very clear about that from the time we first started dating.
Apparently, it hasn't gotten through to you. I was explicit in ordering the two of you to break up, but what did you do? You not only kept right on dating, you got engaged, and you even got married. Every step of the way I voiced my opposition, and you consistently ignored my wishes.
You were upfront about your wishes, Mom, and likewise, we were upfront about ours. You might have opposed our marriage, but your husband was much more understanding. Not to mention, we invited you to the wedding, and you attended.
Do you think I wanted to attend that farce of a wedding? I only went in order to save face in front of my relatives. I didn't want to be known forever as the woman who didn't go to her own son's wedding. That's not the issue anyway. The issue is that the two of you have been acting as though you don't need my permission to get married.
Well, there's a very good reason for that. We don't need your permission. Don't get me wrong, though. I would love nothing more than the day to come that you'll relent and accept me as your son's wife. But this isn't your marriage. It's ours. The fact is that your son Isaiah and I love each other and want to be married. I fully intend to be the best possible wife I can be for him. I hope you'll come to recognize that in time.
There is nothing you can say or do that will ever make me approve of you. The reason I'm so opposed to your relationship is the one thing that you can never fix: your age. You are 6 years older than my Isaiah. Will that gap ever be closed, Do you think you can subtract years from your age by cooking or cleaning well enough?
Well, no, I guess not.
What on earth were you two fools thinking getting married to each other? When you were in the 8th grade, Isaiah was still in the 2nd grade. A middle school girl dating an elementary school child? How could you possibly develop romantic feelings for someone so much younger than yourself?
While true, I'm not sure what that has to do with anything. In case you haven't noticed, we're not in grade school anymore. We're both adults, and 6 years isn't that much of an age gap anyway. There are people all over the place in relationships with bigger age gaps than that.
Commonality is not equivalent to morality. Your relationship is an affront to the laws of nature.
That seems like a wee bit of an overstatement, but moving on. I have to admit that I do understand where you're coming from. I had my reservations about the age difference between us at first, but the more time we spent together, the more we came to realize that we were meant for each other.
Listen to yourself, Sharon. You are 33 years old. 33! And here you are talking about love like you're some starstruck schoolgirl. It's time for you to face reality. A woman's role in a marriage is to give birth to healthy children. At your age, you won't even be capable of that for very much longer. If, that is, you're even capable right now.
We certainly would love to be blessed with children, but even in the event we aren't so fortunate, we're going to stay together until the very end.
At your age, you'd have to be very fortunate to get pregnant, much less give birth to a healthy baby.
Then we'll all have to keep our fingers crossed.
In any case, I do not accept you as my daughter-in-law. I will never understand why Isaiah chose you. He is handsome, intelligent, hard-working, successful. He could have had any woman he wanted, and yet he went and married an old maid like you.
I understand that I'm not the kind of wife that you expected for your son. But like I told you, I'll work as hard as I can to get you to see that Isaiah and I are meant to be together.
Oh, This is exactly why I wanted Isaiah to marry a younger woman. Old maids just talk and talk and talk, and then when they're finished talking, they talk some more. They never listen to a word anyone says. They just keep on jabbering on, even when what comes out of their mouth is utter gibberish. Nothing but talk, talk, talk. That's all you are.
Right. Well, for what it's worth, I am serious about wanting to prove myself to you.
Don't waste your breath. You might have managed to put Isaiah and that foolish husband of mine under your spell, but I won't be so easily deceived. I know exactly what you are. A filthy old woman who selfishly married a man 6 years her junior. I swear on my life I will get the rest of my family to see the truth about you.
Hello, Mom. I wanted to ask you about something. Could I have a minute of your time?
Why, hello, Sharon. I wonder what this could be about.
The way you say that makes it seem like you already know. I just got back from shopping a few minutes ago, and I found a stack of pictures of women with names, phone numbers, and profiles.
Oh, I'm glad you found them. I was worried the wind might have blown them away. What do you think? Aren't they so young, vivacious, and beautiful? They're all daughters of my friends. They come from very good families, too. I thought they'd be perfect for a young man in his 20s like my George.
Mom, don't you think you've taken this a bit too far? And by a bit, I mean way too far. It would be one thing if he was single, but George and I are married. Neither George nor I have any interest in romantic relationships with anyone else. And think about what you're doing to those poor girls. You're trying to hook them up with a married man?
A currently married man, something I aim to remedy as soon as possible. I'd say you should let George decide for himself whether or not he's interested in any of them. Who knows? Maybe the girl of his dreams is in that stack of profiles, and your concern for them is misplaced. I showed them all a picture of my boy, and their reactions were very positive. They said they'd love an opportunity to go out to dinner with a man as handsome as he is, so they're not opposed to my plan either. You're the only one objecting. Now be a dear and hand those pictures to George once he gets home, will you?
Mom, you know that there's no way I'm going to do that. And, by the way, I also found a stack of flyers for divorce attorneys in our mailbox the other day. Let me guess. That was your doing too, wasn't it?
What's that? Divorce attorneys? I haven't the slightest idea what you're talking about. Why do you think I'm the one who requested those? Maybe George is the one who's looking for a divorce attorney.
Isaiah is even more upset about all of this than I am. He's not the type of man who would do something like that to make me afraid he's going to divorce me.
Have you stopped to consider the possibility that he really does want to divorce you? I've been working overtime telling him what an awful choice for a wife you were. Perhaps my work has been a success. Maybe he finally sees you for the old hag that you are.
That is absolutely not the case. We've only been married for 3 months, Mom. I don't think he's looking to divorce me already.
If anything, that makes my assessment even more likely. You've only had 3 months to develop a marital bond between you. That means Isaiah shouldn't have much of a problem leaving you at all. Some people get married and regret it the next day, you know. Do you honestly think that someone with your looks and personality could hold on to George's heart forever? You're delusional, borderline narcissistic if you ask me.
I'm not asking you, and I trust my husband. I know he's going to be faithful to me.
Sharon, dear, the next time you're out on the town, you need to take a good look at the people around you. There's an ample supply of girls out there who are younger and prettier than you ever were, even in your youth. And seeing as you're over 30 now, you've far exceeded your peak beauty. There is nowhere to go but downhill for you. You can buy as many stylish clothes and apply as much makeup as you'd like, but it's never going to change the fact that you're an old woman.
I'm aware of that.
Really, you don't seem to be aware at all. I think you've let the fact that my son settled for marrying you go to your head. And another thing, I distinctly remember hearing a while back that you make George do the cooking on his days off. Is that true? Do you make George do chores like that all the time?
Well, we both have jobs, so we do share the housework, yeah. We take turns in doing the laundry, dishes, vacuuming, all that stuff.
Unbelievable. What do you mean you both have jobs? You don't have a real job. You work at home.
Yes, I do work from home. That's why I have a home office set up for myself in the basement. I'm pretty sure we've been over this before, though.
Nonsense. If you're home all day, there's nothing stopping you from doing all the housework. Why are you making my son do the cooking when he already works to support the both of you?
I'm not making him do anything. Isaiah likes to cook. It's sort of a hobby of his. A few months ago, he saw a recipe online that he wanted to try making, and it turned out really good. Ever since then, he's been trying out new recipes just about every week. So I don't have to tell him to do anything. He volunteers for it.
Well, you just have a response for everything, don't you? Such an argumentative woman. There's another symptom of being an old woman. If only George had married a woman closer to his age. A younger woman would have done as I told her, for sure. She certainly wouldn't put up a fuss like this.
I don't think age has anything to do with a woman obeying her mother-in-law or not.
And there you go, arguing with me again. Thank you for yet again proving me right.
You can't just throw out a baseless accusation and call me argumentative when I deny it.
What on earth was George thinking, marrying a woman like you? I don't understand his tastes in women at all. I thought I had raised him to have more common sense than this.
One of the many things that made me attracted to Isaiah was how he was always more interested in my personality than in my looks. The age gap between us never really mattered very much. We like each other as individuals.
Yes, I'm sure that's what you tell yourself to help you sleep at night, but you know deep down that men like young women. It's the way of the world. Men prefer younger women, women prefer older men. People like you are mere aberrations. I know that sooner or later George will come to his senses and realize what a fool he was to marry some old maid like you.
Well, too bad. I'm going to be the best wife I can be and see to it that that never happens.
What are you going to do? Get plastic surgery or something? Actually, you know what? That might not be such a bad idea. You should probably get on that as soon as possible if you want to save your marriage.
Our marriage doesn't need saving, and you're being incredibly rude.
Hard as it may be to hear, all I'm telling you is the simple truth. Anyway, do be a dear and show those profiles to George, will you? The sooner he sees what options he has, the sooner he'll put an end to his foolishness with you. Sharon, we need to have a conversation. I just got a message from George a little while ago. He told me he doesn't want me sending you any private messages anymore. You're the one who put him up to this, aren't you? You must have been nagging him for days to get him to say that to me.
No, Mom, I was not nagging him.
As if I would believe you. Old women who marry young men are always just looking for a lackey to boss around. What did you threaten him with, Sharon? Divorce? Denial of affection?
I did not threaten him either. The problem here isn't with me, Mom. The problem is with your behavior getting more and more out of control by the day.
Excuse me? How dare you talk to me like that?
Mom, please. I know that you've been spreading awful rumors around our neighborhood lately.
Rumors? What rumors? I have no idea what you're talking about.
You can drop the act, Mom. You've been telling our neighbors that I'm physically abusive, that my spending has put us deep in debt. I've lost count of how many people have complained to me about you stopping them on their way out the door to tell some new ridiculous story about me.
You can't prove it was me. I'd say it's more likely that all your neighbors just hate you. If you were a decent neighbor, they wouldn't be spreading rumors about you, would they?
They all gave me the exact same description of the person who was doing it, and it matches you perfectly. Not to mention, they also said you came up to them and introduced yourself as my husband's mother.
I suppose they'd believe a person who told them they were the Queen of England, too.
Whatever you say. But just for the record, if this keeps up, I promise you that I will sue you for slander.
What? You would sue your own mother-in-law? Are you threatening me?
It's not a threat.
You really are a nasty woman, Sharon. I knew you'd be like this from the moment I laid eyes on you. Old women are all alike, always scheming and manipulating.
Again, age has nothing to do with that.
Ah, well, then I suppose it must be just your awful personality. By the way, you invited us to a dinner party tomorrow, right? What sort of vile trap have you laid for us this time?
The dinner party wasn't my idea.
But if it wasn't you, then whose idea was it? In any case, I'm not coming. I don't feel like looking at your ugly old face right now, so don't wait up for me. You'll be waiting forever. I am not coming.
I hope you reconsider. It would be a shame for you not to be in attendance of your own going-away party.
What? My going-away party?
That's right. Your husband and son made the arrangements for the dinner party, so they could say their farewells to you.
I don't understand. What are you trying to say?
I thought I was speaking pretty clearly.
Why on earth would my husband and son be saying their goodbyes to me?
I'd say it probably has something to do with your deplorable behavior over the years. Remember the day your son took me to your house to announce our engagement? You were furious about me being older than him, and you threw a cup of tea on me. And then there's how you treated my parents at our wedding. Do you have any idea how it made them feel to have their own son-in-law's mother insult their daughter like that? Oh, and remember the girls you tried to introduce to George? I talked to them, and not a single one of them knew that George was a married man. And each and every time your behavior hurt the people around you, your husband was the one who had to clean up your mess.
What did I do wrong exactly? Everything I did was to protect my son.
Regardless of your intentions, your husband has been telling you to knock it off all this time. Am I right?
I can't believe you. You turned my own son and husband against me? What evil lie did you tell them about me? Or perhaps you used seduction.
What are you going on about now?
You want to play rough, Sharon? Fine. I'll go ahead and attend your little party, and I hope you're ready for what's coming to you. I'm going to show both George and my husband what a vile old woman you've been to me.
By all means, go right ahead.
I'm going to put an end to your relationship with my son once and for all. I won't just sit by and allow an old harpy like you to steal my family away from me. I'll make you regret you ever crossed me, Sharon. Hello, Sharon. Do you have a moment? I had a proposal to make, and I wanted to hear what you think about it.
Good afternoon, Mom. If I recall correctly, we told you at dinner the other day that you were never allowed to contact me again.
Well, yes, that's true, but just hear me out. I listened to the things that George and my husband had to say to me that day, and when I got to thinking about it, I finally saw where they're coming from.
I see.
I know I may have said some things in the past about you being older than my son, and about you being talkative, argumentative, and manipulative, but I've decided to give my blessing to your marriage.
Oh?
That's right. I'll give you my consent to marry my son. Now, I'm not asking for this in return, per se, but could you perhaps convince George and my husband not to disown me?
Oh boy. This is really, really sad. You realize the position that you're in right now, right?
Of course I do. Why else would I be doing something like this?
If you really understand the position that you're in, you wouldn't be making a proposal to me. You'd be making a heartfelt apology.
Apologize? Me? For what?
For being a complete menace to everyone around you, for starters.
Oh, don't be hyperbolic. I haven't been a menace to anyone.
We went over all of this the other day. You were so desperate to break up my marriage to your son that you caused a world of trouble for your family, my family, your friends, my neighbors, everyone. And as a result, your husband had to go around and apologize to all of them each and every time you acted up. You've gone out of your way time after time to try and convince Isaiah to divorce me. And not to mention, you've been personally cruel to me more times than I can count. So no, I don't think you understand the position you're in. Not in the slightest.
Everything I've done, everything I've ever done, was all for my son's happiness. What's wrong with that?
Okay. If you're really convinced that you're in the right, then I guess there's nothing I can say to change your mind, and this conversation is over.
Are you listening to me? My husband is going to make me move out of the house, and George says he never wants to see me again.
And you only have yourself to blame.
I don't understand what you're being so stubborn about. I'm telling you that I'm going to allow you to stay married to my son. This is what you've wanted all along, right? You should be thrilled.
I wanted that before, yeah, but now it doesn't matter to me anymore.
But why?
Because Dad and Isaiah are both saying that they no longer consider you to be a part of our family.
They're just saying that to make a point. They don't mean it. It's all an act. They're trying to scare me into approving of your marriage.
If you're so convinced it's just an act, then why are you contacting me like this right now?
Because I never thought they would take it as far as they have.
I see. So you're making this grand proposal to me because you're scared then?
I've tried talking to them, but nothing gets through. They won't listen to a word I say.
Wow. That sounds like you, Mom. We've tried to talk to you how many times now, and yet you never listened to a word we said. Anyway, thanks for the offer, but I'll pass. I don't need you to approve of our relationship anymore. Now, I expect you to live up to your promise and never contact me again. Just in case, I'm going to go ahead and block your phone number so you're not tempted.
Sharon, please, wait. All right, you win. I didn't want to do this, but I'll apologize. I'm sorry for everything. I'm very, very sorry, okay?
Thank you for apologizing, Mom. That means a lot to me.
So you'll put in a good word for me with my husband and son, right?
I'm sorry. Did I say I would do that if you apologized? I don't recall making such a promise.
What more do you want from me? I just apologized to you.
This isn't the kind of situation that can be fixed by you apologizing, Mom. Your husband and son are furious at you for how you've been treating me, yes, but this isn't something that just started recently. It goes back much further to the way you've been treating them over the years.
I have been nothing but the best mother and wife I could possibly be.
If that's really the best you could possibly be, wow, you've set the bar pretty low for yourself. You made your husband clean up your mess whenever you committed a social faux pas, which happened pretty frequently. You dedicated yourself to convincing your son to divorce me, and you barely do any of the housework despite never having worked a day in your life. And then at dinner the other night, you made completely fabricated claims of me having an affair. Did you think they would put up with this behavior of yours forever? They've had enough.
I told you that was all done to protect my family. I did it for them.
And my husband is doing this to protect me. You said and did terrible things to me, the person Isaiah chose to spend the rest of his life with. If my parents did the same things to Isaiah that you've done to me, then I would be doing like Isaiah is now and disowning them. I don't see how any rational person could do otherwise.
But, George is so young. He would be so much happier if he had a younger wife than you. And what about you, Sharon? Surely you'd be happier with someone closer to your own age, wouldn't you? I know that both of you would be much happier with different people. I was trying to help you both find happiness.
You don't know that. You assumed it, and we all know what assuming does.
Please, Sharon, please. From now on, I'll accept you as a fully fledged member of the family. So please do something. You've got to talk sense into those two men.
I don't think that anything I said would change either of their minds at this point. What your husband and your son want is for you to disappear as soon as possible. They both have their minds made up. So if you're really interested in doing what's best for the family, there's only one thing for you to do. Disappear. After that, my father-in-law kicked my mother-in-law out of their house. Furthermore, he told her that he intends to divorce her as soon as possible. This is something that's between the two of them, so I don't know all the details. But it seems like my mother-in-law has been getting on her husband's nerves for some time now. She has this image of a wife as more of a princess than a life partner. That's why she barely ever lifts a finger around the house, and why she expected George to marry some young trophy wife like she sees herself being. Me being over 30 and having actual employable skills means that I was nowhere close to fitting her ideal image of a wife for her son. My father-in-law had put up with her for a while, but he finally got tired of her spoiled, rotten attitude, and Isaiah feels the same way. I don't imagine my father-in-law will waste much time in hiring a divorce attorney. Having finally been freed from my mother-in-law's nastiness, Isaiah and I are finally able to live our lives as newlyweds in peace and harmony. Oh, and some more good news. I found out the other day that I'm pregnant. Isaiah and I are happier than we ever imagined. Although, I can't help but imagine what awful things my mother-in-law would have done to me if she found out about this. Fortunately, though, I don't think I'll have to worry about that. Isaiah filed for a restraining order against his mother on my behalf, which the judge quickly granted. So, if for whatever reason she tries to interfere in our lives, all I need to do is contact the police, and she'll be swiftly carried off to prison, where she belongs. So while I'm not too worried about that, I still need to be careful. For now, I just want to focus on giving birth to this baby and becoming the best mother I can possibly be.